Morning, y'all. We're out in the shop today. We're going to try to help out the high school band. So my daughter is the percussion leader, student percussion leader in the band at Fox Creek High School, which is a charter school, and marching band. And they go to competitions and compete. It's a small school and don't have a ton of money for stuff. So if you're wondering what I'm looking at, I got a fire going outside. I'm just making sure it's not going anywhere. So when they do marching band competitions, their big bass drum is they don't have a field cart. They have for the years been using a concert stand, which they have to pick the drum up. One person has to carry the drum and another person has to carry the stand out there. And the stand looks like this. I'll cut to a video what the stand looks like right here because I was getting some measurements off of it.
So this is the bass drum stand that the band has now. And it works fine. It's a good bass drum stand, but it is not made for marching band. It has these little itty bitty casters on it, and so what we end up having to do is carry the bass drum and the stand out on the field separately. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make some drawings of this so I can take it back up to the school tomorrow, and then we're going to fabricate a new field bass drum stand. So that's what the school has now, and then we'll get to work and build them a new one.
So anyways, that's what the concert stand looks like. And being in the band boosters and helping with all their competitions and looking at what other schools had, I figured we needed a field cart to carry the bass drum. It'll make it a lot easier to carry it on and off the field, and it'll be more professional. So I looked online at bass drum carts, and let me tell you, they're like really expensive, like thousands of dollars, and I don't have that kind of money to buy one for the school. So I figured that we'll build one. So I took some measurements off, as you saw from the inset video, off of the concert stand, and I've got some wheels, some casters, some metal, and we're going to try our hand at building a bass drum cart. And I know nothing about instruments or anything other than what I've learned just from my daughter being in band, so we'll see how this goes. Hopefully we can build them something that'll work and be good to go. So follow along. First I'm going to cut up some metal and then we'll get ready to weld. So be back with some of that. Alright, I got the parts for the first section cut and fitted and laid out. So now I'll tack them together and then carry it outside to the welding table and weld it all together. So the plan on this, I've got measurements on how high the drum needs to be off of the ground when it's on the cart, and the angle at which the drum needs to be, and I've got an idea in my head of what I want this to look like when it's done. So that's kind of the plans. I don't usually do full drawings when I do something like this. I'll draw it after I get it done so I can have a reference if I need it again later. But anyway, so I'm going to tack this part together and then carry it outside and weld it, and then we'll work on the other parts and then bring them all together, and you'll see kind of what the idea in my head looks like. Alright, we got this first piece all welded up and ready to go. So we'll set that aside for now. And I got another piece here all set up to be tacked and welded, and I got to make two of these. So I got more pieces set out over there.
Once I weld this one, tack this one up, then I'll tack the second one up. So let me get on with that. We have reached the end of what I'm going to be doing today. It is getting a little warm in here. So we have the middle piece here. That will have the legs sticking up for the drum to sit on and be strapped down. And then we have the two frames for each end. That's what the wheels are going to mount to. But this is going to be it for today. I need to go get something to eat and getting some cool air conditioning. So we'll be back tomorrow. So I've gone ahead and welded these plates onto the top side of each of the corners, and I've got them drilled, and I already test fit them so the casters will sit right up in those squares. And I've got everything jigged up on the table here to go ahead and tack weld the ends onto the centerpiece. This is not a if I had my unlimited amount of metal, I would have just made this all one length here and done it that way, but I'm using what I have, which is smaller pieces, so that's kind of why it's built the way it is. Plus, this stuff's a little lighter too, the square tubing, so it'll kind of help with the weight. I don't want to make this thing too heavy because they've got to roll it around and they might have to lift it too. So now that that's all jigged up, I'll go ahead and tack it and then weld it on the bottom side here, and then flip it over and weld it on the top side. So let me get busy with that. This is going to be in little bits and pieces as I get time to work on it. So this morning I ran up here and I made this. This is where the handle to pull it with will hook on. And then I started welding these two braces in here, and this will end up like looking like that when it's done. Be able to pull it. I'll weld together a handle. It'll be kind of like a wagon handle, except it'll have a loop on it, or a hole for hooking on the back of another similar trailer that we have. So I'm going to get to welding this, and then I'll bring you back when I start to make the supports for the drum itself. So bear with me. So this is all we're going to get done today because we've got to get ready to go somewhere. But we've got that all welded in, and that's going to be the pivot point for the handle, which I've got kind of set up here. This will have a D-ring loop on it, and then that other end will have a bushing in it for it to pivot on. I'll have to trim it all up. The handle is being made out of this, which is it's an anti-sway bar off of a Volkswagen Beetle, I believe. A very old one. It was cut off. Something I got from the junkyard. So that'll be the next day. I get up here to work on this a little bit. We'll try to knock that handle out and get it mounted up. Then we can work on the pieces that hold the drum. And once we get that all fitted up, then we'll take it all back apart and paint it. So we'll be back. All right, got the handle done. Got a bushing welded in there for the pivot bolt. You can see I got plastic plugs that'll go in the end of these once they're painted. And a nice D-ring handle that can be pulled by hand or hooked onto the back of another cart. And that was made from a anti-sway bar off of a 1960s Volkswagen Beetle. Don't worry, it wasn't, I didn't destroy the Beetle for an anti-sway bar. It's already cut up piece of stock I had laying around. So now we can test fit this on the old cart here. go. All set. We can paint that now. And it's Father's Day, and I got a Father's Day thing to go to, so that's probably going to be it for today. We'll see y'all when we do some more on this. Morning, y'all. Hopefully, I plan on getting the rest of this fabricating done on this cart today, so I can get it painted. And so I've got these 3 posts mocked up, and I'm going to go ahead and tack them in place and then weld them. It'll make sense once I get the rest of it done, and hopefully we'll get this thing finished today. So I'll get these tacked on and welded, and then we'll move on to the next step. Well, I got the wire put back in the welder, and so I added this brace to stiffen everything up, trying to make this as light as possible but also strong, because high school kids. I got the brackets made on these back two so they can angle to fit the curvature of the drum, and they're at the right height for what they want. So now I got to go get the drum and set it on here and finish up this piece to get the angle correct. So I'll go get the drum and bring it up here. Okay, now we've got the drum up here in the shop, and now you can kind of see what we did with those back brackets here. Bent a piece. These are going to get painted and then plasti dipped, so those hold the back. And then on the front side I've got this piece clamped up with the 2 rubber bumpers that it'll sit on, and then we're going to put an eyelet here on each side for the strap to go around it. So now I just got to take the drum back off of there, weld that piece up, and then take it all apart and paint everything, and then we'll come back and show you what it looks like once it's all done. Morning, y'all. It's another day. So all our paint is now dry. Hopefully all our fabricating is done and we can get this thing assembled. So I bought some of these plugs that fit in the square tubing to finish That way you get a nice finished look on all this. Pop in there like that, and then we got some for these here. Oh yeah, that's nice. So I'm going to get everything put together, and we'll get the drum on it, and then I'll show you the final product. So be right back with that. We now have the finished product. So this cart's designed where it holds the drum at the proper angle, as you can see. That's the angle they want. I don't pretend to know anything about band stuff, but I took the measurements of the angle directly off of their concert stand. So got a nice handle here you can pull it around with. You can see it moves nice and easy, and the drum stays securely mounted to it. So there we go. Now the high school where my daughter goes will have a whole lot easier time getting their bass drum out onto the field for marching band competition. So I doubt this has helped y'all in any way, shape, or form, because you're probably never going to build a bass drum cart. But thanks for watching, and we appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.